Alright, I'm going to try to explain how the C5 landing gear schematic works. So, right now the gear's it's in the up position, and in the up position we have a fluid lock that's keeping our door locks locked. And the reason is because the landing gear itself doesn't have an up lock to keep it locked, it does it through the doors. So, after you've been flying for a while, you decide to put the gear down. So once you put it down, our hydraulic pressure is sitting in here, kind of waiting. Multiple things happen at once. So one of the first is we're going to have hydraulic fluid go through the upside of our up-down valve, coming down in here through a snubber and pressurizing the upside of our landing gear motors. And the whole purpose is to bring the gear up, hold it there momentarily to allow this hydraulic pressure go through our up rotate side. It makes its way down through here, and there's another cut off through here, and it makes it through here, putting pressure on the back side of our collar lock, unlocking our collar lock. Once that collar lock is unlocked, the pressure that was sitting here, move the shuttle valve, was sitting here. The sequence interlock valve is a blocked off port until the collar lock gets unlocked, and it kind of says it in this little area. Once the collar lock's unlocked, then it rotates in the drawn position, it allows fluid to come over here, apply pressure to that backside of the spool valve, overcoming the spring tension on this side, and allows hydraulic fluid to make it through this port. And the hydraulic fluid then is putting pressure on this side of our normal bogie rotation actuator. And the purpose of that is to hold the gear in that 90-degree position as it's coming out of the well. So, we had the up pressure, now it's going to shift to the downside, so we're going to end up losing this fluid here, and our hydraulic fluid is then going to go through the downside of our up-down valve, making its way here. Simultaneously, our door lock valve is going to shift and go to the door, to the unlock side, allowing fluid to come through here and unlock the locks just prior to the fluid hitting the downside of our gear and turning our gearbox, or our gear motors turning our gearbox. So we have two things. The gear is held at the 90-degree position here as the gear is coming out of the well. So then, as the gear finally makes it out of the well, I forgot to draw it, but we had fluid standing by here. So as soon as it gets completely out of the well, the fluid, that's pressure that's sitting up here, will lock the side brace. And we'll go from an in-transit indication to a red wheels indication up in the flight deck. So gear's down and locked. Now we have to rotate the gear. So we're going to end up losing all of this down here because our down rotate is going to shift now, and it's going to allow hydraulic pressure to go to the down rotate side. And as the fluid makes its way through here to the down rotate side, it's kind of waiting here, moves over the shuttle valve, and will make its way down here. moving the spool valve again, overcoming the spring tension, allowing fluid to come down through here and apply pressure on the other side of the normal bogey rotation actuator. Quick note, through these lines is where we end up having brake pressure, caster, and kneeling, because the up rotate, down rotate valve is going to end up staying in the down rotate position, providing hydraulic fluid to those valves. Then, so back down here, we have hydraulic fluid pressing against the other side of the normal bogey actuator, and it's going to shift this in this direction. As it shifts it in that direction, the bogey's going to turn, and it's going to be going from the 90-degree position to a 0-degree position. And once it does, once this little area makes contact down here to the stop, at that point, that mechanical linkage that's kind of drawn is going to end up opening this valve. And the hydraulic fluid that would have also been making its way down here, once this valve shifts over, it will make its way in here and lock the collar lock. And once it's locked, we go from red wheels to green wheels. Now, once that's done, and it's at 0 degrees, we end up losing all of this in here, except for we'll have fluid keeping pressure on the collar lock, and our sequence interlock valve will shift, no longer allowing fluid to get through it in here. And this is kind of what it will look like with the gear down. So then, if you were to go from this position where the gear was down, you came in, did a missed approach, you're going to put the gear back on the well. We're going to take and put the gear handle now to up. When that happens, first thing that's going to happen is you're going to lose your hydraulic pressure in here. And our down rotate is going to shift at that point, and it's going to go through the up rotate side. Because the first thing that you want to do when you're going to put the gear in the well is to rotate it. So you have hydraulic pressure standing by, and you'll have pressure, this pressure coming through, and it's going to make its way through, and the first thing that needs to happen is the collar lock needs to be unlocked. Once that collar lock is unlocked, this valve, after the fluid makes it past the shuttle valve, it's going to open up and be in the drawn position, make its way over, push on the spool valve, make its way on this side, and start pushing against the normal bogey rotation actuator and start shifting the gear to that 90 degrees. Once it hits that 90 degrees, then at that point, we're going to end up with we're going to end up losing all of this because our up-down is going to shift at that point. One of the first things that need to happen is then we're going to go through the upside, make its way down here. We're going to end up unlocking the side brace right here. We're going to have hydraulic fluid make its way here, through here, and stand by. Pressure is going to make its way through the lock side and stand by, waiting to lock the locks. Also, we're going to have fluid come down here through the snubber and start bringing the gear into the well. As the gear starts coming up,